Hello and welcome to this iVoucher presentation on personalising voucher codes in affiliate marketing. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Debbie Barnes and I am the Commercial Director of iVoucher. We specialise in voucher marketing technology solutions and we have a powerful engine for delivering vouchers on a large scale, which historically we've used to work with enterprise companies that have been looking to monetize their audiences using vouchers. More recently, we've launched a self-service online platform which allows businesses to create vouchers, publish those vouchers simultaneously to both their own audiences and publishers, and then monitor the usage of those vouchers in real time. And just to give you a quick overview, we're going to take a look at the results of our recent survey into voucher codes, explore why we need to start personalising voucher codes for consumers, look at some of the research and science backing that up, and then explore a few ways that both advertisers and publishers can start to address this. And hopefully this will give you some insight into how iVoucher thinks about how we design our software and also stimulate your own ideas on this particular subject. And I want to look at how personalising voucher codes for consumers can help to address some of the issues that the affiliate marketing industry experiences with this particular form of marketing. And the reason I chose this topic is because iVoucher undertook a survey of UK consumers, out of which came 4 key findings. So firstly, voucher codes are here to stay and their usage is growing. Over half of UK consumers are now using voucher codes at least once a month. And with 27% of those consumers using voucher codes at least once a fortnight or more, it means there are a further 26% of consumers out there who are currently only utilising voucher codes once a month and therefore have the potential to become more prolific users over the next few years. Now, a 2016 survey of 10,000 smartphone users undertaken by Accenture found that 86% of smartphone users think discounts and promotions are cool. So I believe these statistics together suggest there is still plenty of room for growth in this particular area of affiliate marketing. There's lots of opportunity out there for both advertisers and publishers, but in an area which already feels saturated, we all need to consider how we can stop competition, whether you are an advertiser or a publisher. Another statistic that stood out from our survey was that 68% of consumers say a voucher code would influence them to try a brand they hadn't purchased from before. So if you are currently developing an affiliate marketing strategy for your business, voucher codes should definitely form a key part of your plan for acquiring new customers. And why have voucher codes become so popular in recent years? Well, obviously there are many different answers to that question, but we think one of the main reasons is that within a seemingly disparate marketing landscape, voucher codes offer a recognisable call to action which can be easily delivered across multiple channels. Therefore, particularly with new advertising opportunities becoming available on mobile like hyperlocal targeting, it looks like voucher codes are here to stay for the foreseeable future. Now, our next key finding was that advertisers are doing more to promote their own voucher codes first before going to the affiliate channel. So when we asked consumers, where do you search for voucher codes, there was very little difference between whether consumers found voucher codes through a search engine, voucher code website, or brand's own website. But there is still room for improvement. So I looked at 10 major brands in the UK and searched for them plus the term voucher code. Several of them were not listed on the first page of Google. Several of them did not have a voucher or offer page at all, and of those that did, many were out of date or not optimised for search engine. Now, if your business isn't already promoting vouchers on its website, This doesn't mean voucher codes have to be on full show for everyone to see so that they find a voucher code first before they make a purchase, and then you're going to lose out on margin unnecessarily. Instead, by adding a page to your website that can only be found through entering specific keywords on a search engine, or adding a link to your website footer, savvy consumers stay on your site first, and it means you're not going to have to pay commission out elsewhere. I've got a good example here from Shutterstock. The wording might not be to everybody's taste, but it's the first entry that comes up on Google when you search for Shutterstock vouchers. And it's saying that rather than going on the search for a voucher code elsewhere, we'll offer you the best codes here first. And if you were already on the site, you could find the page by clicking a Shutterstock coupons link at the bottom of the footer. It's by no means easy to find on their site. For publishers, these stats mean that we need to continue giving advertisers a reason to promote voucher codes with us. Personally, I've seen a growing trend in advertisers not just offering less commission, but no commission at all on their voucher codes. And in addition to this, more companies choosing to close their open network and instead opt to work with a selected few key partners who are really adding value. So we have to ensure as publishers that we don't sleepwalk into that, and that we start offering more value to the advertiser than just simply printing a code. And I'll go into a little more depth on some of the ways I think we can avoid this situation later on. Thirdly, our survey showed that wherever you choose to promote your voucher codes, one size does not fit all. So when we asked consumers what would make you more likely to use voucher codes, in first place, just over half of respondents said being offered a higher level of discount. Now, this may seem like an open shut case, but our perception of what constitutes a higher level of discount or better value for money is actually very nuanced. And to demonstrate this, I'm going to summarise the findings of 3 studies. Firstly, in the 90s, a cognitive scientist at Yale decided to test whether infants had an innate sense of quantities. She placed 5-month-old babies in front of an opaque screen, and by placing small quantities of balls or dolls behind the screen while the babies watched, she was able to represent simple equations such as 1 + 1 = 2. Now the catch was, sometimes one of those items would be secretly added or removed, and so when the screen was raised, the babies would see an inconsistent equation such as 1 + 1 = 1. Now when the babies saw this false equation, they stared at the scene for much longer than when they saw a true equation, suggesting they could tell the difference at 5 months old before they can even read or speak. The study also found that with quantities above 4, the infants suddenly lost the ability to keep track of these numbers and instead seemed to use a different way of counting. They started to look at numbers above 4 as relative proportions. So numbers with a 2-to-1 ratio like 8 and 16 were far enough apart that they could easily tell the difference. But numbers that were close together like 8 and 10 were much more difficult for them to tell apart. Now this ability becomes more developed as we grow older, and we ultimately reach a peak ability of being able to visually tell the difference between 100 and 115. But even for adults, numbers like 100 and 102 are too close to tell apart on sight. So this research demonstrates that the way we count is instinctive, it's deeply rooted in our evolutionary history, and that can have serious implications for our financial decisions. Secondly, a study found that we see the difference between 100 and 200 as more significant than the difference between 1100 and 1200, even though only 100 separates either of these quantities. And the reason we see the difference between 100 and 200 as more significant is because we judge these numbers in a relative and proportional way. So 100 is a smaller fraction of 200 compared to 1100 and 1200. And thirdly, in a study undertaken in 1984, people were asked whether they could drive 20 minutes to a different store to save £5 off a £15 calculator, or drive 20 minutes to save £5 off a £125 jacket. Amazingly, over 2/3 of people would go further out of their way to save £5 on the calculator, even though they would save £5 either way. So when put on the spot, our instincts heavily influence the way we think about value, saving money, and buying decisions. To help illustrate this, which of the following do you think represents the biggest percentage discount? We've got A, £200 off a £999 TV. B, a £35 pair of sunglasses marked down from £50. And C, buy one shirt for £60 and get the second half price. B is actually the correct answer. So £200 off a £999 TV is 20% off the original value. A £35 pair of sunglasses marked down from £50 is 30% off the original value. And buy one shirt for £60 and get the second half price is 25% off the original value. Now, I certainly didn't get that the first time, and you find supermarkets exploiting this number blindness all the time. So maybe there are 2 sizes of Coke on the shelf available to purchase, and you end up paying a higher price per 100 millilitres if you take the larger bottle of Coke marked at a 50% discount than if you had just taken the regular price smaller bottle. And this tactic is something that even early affiliate programs can start to evaluate. And it means you don't have to offer the highest discount all the time, but instead try testing a range of different promotions. So the implication of these statistics is if a consumer is presented with several voucher codes at the same time, as is often the case on a voucher code website, is it the highest level of discount that's going to sway them to use that voucher code, or are there other factors at play? Well, monetary value is just one of the factors that people take into account when making a buying decision. In addition, there is also functional value, the solution an offer provides to the customer. Social value, the extent to which owning a product or engaging in a service allows the consumer to connect with others. And psychological value, the extent to which a product allows consumers to express themselves or feel better. And actually, that last point on psychological value is particularly apt with voucher codes, because the second reason that made consumers more likely to use voucher codes in our survey was making more vouchers available from the same brand. And this suggests that for some consumers, the act of finding and using the voucher code itself is as much a reward as the actual value of the voucher. Coupons.com undertook some research where they had a neuroscientist study the effects of giving out coupons, and basically half the group received a $10 coupon, half the group didn't, and after measuring hormone levels, they found that the receipt of the coupon actually increased oxytocin, which is our happiness hormone. So it's really good to know that we're making our customers feel happy when we provide them with voucher codes. So whilst consumers may think that being offered a higher level of discount will make them more inclined to use vouchers, actually the second finding, which is the availability of more vouchers for the same brand, is actually more likely to make consumers inclined to use vouchers, whether they realise it or not. And finally, coupled with this complex relationship around voucher codes, consumers also now have an expectation that brands know who they are. So consumers understand better than ever that their data is being used to target them. And despite this, a statistic that really stood out for me recently was only 37% of consumers feel that their favourite retailers understand them as individuals, which seems really surprising in this day and age. But the good news for us is that it only requires personalising a few elements of a marketing campaign for consumers to feel they're being personally addressed. Now, to demonstrate this, in a study published in the Journal of Applied Social Psychology, researchers tested the effects of giving out mints in a restaurant at the end of a meal, and they did this in order to measure their effectiveness at increasing tips. Now, the results were measured against a control group where no mints were given, and the first group studied had waiters give mints along with the bill, making no mention of the mints themselves. And this act alone increased tips by 3% against the control group. The second group had waiters bring out two different types of mint by hand. They did this separate from the bill, and they mentioned them to the table, saying, would anyone like some mints before they leave? And this saw tips increase by 14% against the control group. And finally, the last group had waiters bring out the bill first along with a few mints, and a short time afterwards the waiters came back with a different type of mint and let customers know they had brought more mints just in case they wanted another type. And this saw tips increase by 21%, which is 7% more than the previous group. And it was the perceived personalisation by the customer that made all the difference. And with over half of brands saying they're planning to be more sophisticated with their personalisation in future, we think that personalisation is the key to making voucher codes work long term for the affiliate marketing industry. For advertisers, personalisation within affiliate marketing means you can develop more creative campaigns and create a better impression with potential new customers. For publishers, personalisation within affiliate marketing means you can drive more sales and develop better relationships with your advertisers. So it's a win-win for both parties. So what are some of the ways that we can start to personalise voucher codes in affiliate marketing? Well, for merchants, you can start by actually personalising the voucher code itself through the use of unique codes. And it's one of the main reasons retailers deploy technology like iVoucher today. So some of the ways that unique codes can help are by controlling distribution. This is particularly relevant if you are a luxury or high-end retailer and you're concerned about potentially devaluing your brand. Unique codes are an easy way to limit a promotion. So for example, you could set up a flash sale, do a run of 200 vouchers, and then once there are no more voucher codes available, the customer receives a message saying something to the effect of, sorry you missed out this time, but check out our new range here. Secondly, controlling viral spread. So most of the time we would all love our voucher codes to go viral, but sometimes there are cases when you just don't. So maybe you've got limited stock available, or you're trialling a different promotion or a different type of discount and you want to see how it affects lifetime value on a small group of customers first before trialling it on a larger scale. And finally, tracking. So with unique codes you can track their source, not just at the point of redemption but also at the point of claim, and see who exactly has claimed your voucher code. So maybe you want to get a better understanding of which voucher codes are performing well on certain voucher code sites and track whether users go through to make a purchase even if they don't use the code. We think that eventually the code will replace most of the affiliate tracking and the advertiser will only pay the publisher based on the code that's used. There are definitely advertisers that do that out there today, and it means nobody's going to hijack your code if they're not making any money out of it. Secondly, merchants should consider personalising the user journey for their biggest publishers who are delivering sales from voucher codes. A number of advertisers on our programmes already do this, and it's effective because co-branding provides consumers with a sense of trust and a relationship between the two parties. Consumer thinks that this voucher code is definitely going to work at checkout, so they're more likely to use it. And it also means you don't have to show a voucher code box at checkout to all of your customers, so they won't go and search for a code unnecessarily. For publishers, to me, it seems the need to start offering a personalised experience with voucher codes is even greater, particularly if you are a voucher code or cashback site and your business revolves around this particular marketing tactic. You're in a very competitive space where it's difficult to retain user loyalty, So it's important to consider any opportunity that can give you an edge over the competition. One of the ways we're thinking about personalisation at iVoucher is through our new technology. I won't go into too much detail here, but in essence, based on my preferences and behaviour, I would receive a voucher that's perfectly matched to that in order to increase the likelihood of conversion. As discussed earlier, affiliates are doing more to promote their own voucher codes and at the same time offering less or no commission to affiliates. But through personalisation, publishers can increase loyalty with both consumers and advertisers and increase the usage of voucher codes, meaning they make more money. Personalisation isn't just hi first name. So you can offer voucher codes based on a user's individual preferences. You can offer voucher codes based on day, time, weather, or season. We actually ran a campaign for Pizza Express last year as part of one of our publisher programs, where we targeted a small number of restaurants that were underperforming between the hours of 2 and 3 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon. We sent a voucher code that was geo-targeted to users who were within the vicinity of their venues, and this resulted in over 500 vouchers redeemed in one afternoon. You can also A/B test different discount levels. In summary, there's so much opportunity, even for the biggest players in the market, to grow their business by investing in their technology provision. By offering personalisation even on a small scale, from what I have seen, I think you would be instantly providing added value and differentiating yourself from your competitors. So I've covered there just some of the ways that both advertisers and publishers can look at personalising voucher codes in affiliate marketing. The 5 main points that I hope you will take away from today are: consumers love voucher codes. They have an expectation that brands know who they are and are happy to be targeted as long as it's in the right way. Personalisation is the key to making voucher codes work long term for the affiliate marketing channel, and it only takes a few elements for consumers to feel they're being personally addressed. And this is exactly what iVoucher does as a business and how we can help you.